New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Live from a secure concrete bunker somewhere in Ohio, New Thought Media Network presents Pastor Michael Mangus with Friday's Fireside Chat, spiritual conversation for today. Here he is from the secret radio room, surrounded by thousands of watts, Pastor Michael Mangus.
And a very pleasant Friday evening to you, and happy Easter to each and every one of you around the globe. It's time once again for another fun-filled, thrill-packed, and yes, guaranteed always exciting edition of the Friday evening Fireside Chat here on your New Thought Media Network. I am the Reverend Michael Mangus, and I am broadcasting this evening from the top secret radio room inside of the extremely secure concrete bunker somewhere around Akron, Ohio. That is so top secret that even my guest this evening, the Reverend Jim Webb, he has no clue where the top secret bunker is located, and we're going to keep it that way. And the other person I'm going to keep it from is that Reverend Dr. Robert Brzezinski. See, he thinks that he knows where it's located because he sends me mail, that's snail mail, to an actual address. But you see, that's not where the top secret bunker is located, and we're going to keep it that way. Well, good evening, every one of you. Good to see everyone this evening. Hello there. We do have a wonderful show for you this evening, so please feel free to interact with us by posting your comments on either Facebook or YouTube. And for all of my shy people out there, I know you're out there. All you're going to need to do here is to go and send me an email during the week, pastormichaelmangus@gmail.com. pastormichaelmangus@gmail.com. I read those during the week, not during the show. So if you want to get in touch with me during the show, please go ahead and send me a comment like this one, Abracadabra. I think I know who that's from. I think that's from Wayne, but I'm not sure. All right. Well, the purpose of our fireside chat here is for us to have an honest conversation about what is going on in the world. I know in New Thought that the tendency is to go ahead and to ignore what is going on around us. And I'm not saying that we don't acknowledge the truth about the situation, which is the opposite of the situation. I'm just saying that we need to be aware here and to come forth with spiritual answers. Because again, my spirituality is not limited to just an hour or two on weekends. It is all the time. It is me being the living presence of God and feeling that presence in every moment. So part of that is speaking up and speaking out. And so again, you do not have to agree with me. The views and opinions are those of my own and not those of our wonderful network, Robert Brzezinski, Jim Webb, Diana Mangus, even Wayne Baldwin. They're not necessarily those wonderful people's opinion. But again, the reason I bring it up is so that we can have honest conversation about it and see if we can see the God within the situation. Well, my very special guest this evening, who went ahead and is doing yeoman's duty this evening because I called him at the last minute because my guest, unfortunately, had a few issues and could not make it this evening, we welcome from the very popular show here on the New Thought Media Network, The Miracle of Prosperity, the Reverend Jim Webb. And we are going to talk this evening about some of the metaphysical meanings of Holy Week and how we can use its lessons and symbolism to help us here in 2024. So author, minister, and world traveler, the Reverend Dr. Jim Webb will be our very special guest in the second half of our program. Okay, we'll get to the news here. Like you've been hearing, there has been a bridge collapse in the Baltimore area. Crews in Baltimore face an incredibly complex job as they work to clear colossal steel sections of the collapsed Francis Scott Key Bridge after a cargo ship crashed into it this week. Federal government has given a $60 million down payment request by Maryland's Governor Wes Moore towards cleaning up and rebuilding the bridge. Baltimore's Mayor Brandon Scott also said Thursday that he is hopeful that the bodies of the other 4 men will eventually be retrieved from the debris-filled water. Authorities announced on Thursday that they were pausing the search and rescue efforts for the 4 other workers presumed dead because the debris makes it unsafe for divers to continue. I had another story about the ship's crew, the current ship's crew, being helped by the chaplains of many denominations who are advocating for their care and well-being. Again, many of them do not have passports and are taken to shore. And again, that they're going to have to find a way to get them out of the country and back to their home countries. So our prayers for comfort and peace go out to all who are affected by this tragic event, to the individuals and the citizens of Baltimore, because again, it was one of 3 bridges that crossed over the bay. No, it wasn't terrorism, as I have heard rumored. Now, I only need to see the news reports a couple of times a day and get updated throughout the day. I don't need to watch CNN every moment. So if I really want to help in situations like this, when tragedy strikes, personally, this is what I do. Take what you like and leave the rest. I pray and I give money to charities assisting the families affected. It's times like these that those of us of faith can show their love rather than post false bots on Facebook and X, formerly known as Twitter, with information and with misinformation. All right. Continuing on, today is Good Friday. This is the commemoration of Holy Week. In Jerusalem, Palestinian churches observe scaled-down Good Friday celebrations. Hundreds of Christians participated in a customary Good Friday procession through the limestone walls of Jerusalem's Old City, commemorating one of the faith's most sacred days with a noticeably thinner crowd amid the ongoing Israeli-Hamas war. The day's processions, which normally draw thousands of foreign visitors, were unusually local. Most of the observers were Palestinian Christians, joined by some foreigners living in Jerusalem and a few undeterred tourists. The traditional Good Friday procession passes along the way of the cross, the route believed to have been taken and walked by Jesus to his crucifixion, Squads of Israeli police set up barricades along the path, rerouting shoppers in the old city's bustling Muslim quarter to make way for the hundreds of pilgrims. The procession of the final stations of the cross were held inside of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, where Jesus is believed to have been crucified and laid to rest before his resurrection on Easter. The city streets were noticeably devoid of Palestinian Christians from the West Bank who normally come to the Holy City for Easter festivities. And since October the 7th, Palestinian worshipers have needed special permission to cross checkpoints into Jerusalem. Also in this week's news, Pope Francis visits the female penitentiary on Holy Thursday. He visited the female penitentiary in Rome to celebrate Holy Thursday's ritual of the feet washing, continuing the Pontiff's tradition of visiting marginalized groups on the Thursday before Easter. And for the first time ever, all 12 people who had their feet washed by the Pope were all women. The penitentiary is one of the largest in Europe and houses 360 women and also one child. The inmates have looked forward to the Pope's arrival with excitement. And for them, it's a symbol of great attention, a symbol that shows that the Pope is thinking about them and is close to them. That was said by their chaplain. The Pope said Mass outside in a large tent where the women and the employees of the penitentiary gathered. Always, all of us, the Pontiff says, face small failures, big failures, but it doesn't matter. Everyone has their own story, he said. But the Lord always waits for us with open arms, and he never tires of forgiving us. While the Vatican has stated that the Pope might not perform the ritual himself due to the pain in his legs, Francis washed the feet of the inmates while sitting in a wheelchair. The women were placed on an elevated chair to allow the Pope to wash their feet without bending too much. The event took place in private with no access for the public. Pictures show women weeping with emotion during the ritual, and these women hailed from Italy, Ukraine, Russia, Peru, Nigeria, Venezuela, and also the community in Italy. The Pope has dedicated the prayer intention for the month of April to the role of women, and asking that they be recognized in every culture and for the end of discrimination that they experience in different parts of the world. Your Holiness, how about women in the church? Just my commentary. And on April 28th, he will also visit another women's prison during a day trip to Venice. Pope Francis gifted the women a painting of the Virgin Mary and also a child. And he also gifted a giant chocolate Easter egg and a smaller one to a 3-year-old boy who has been living in the penitentiary with his mother for the past 9 months. Those are different ways that people celebrate during what is called Holy Week. Now, finally in the news, and this is the one that when I saw this in the news, I'm glad I didn't have any coffee in my mouth, because I probably would have spit it up all over the table. Former President Donald Trump is officially selling a patriotic copy of the Christian Bible themed to Lee Greenwood's famous song, God Bless America. There's a picture of the Bible. Happy Holy Week, Trump announced on social media on Tuesday. During the most solemn period of the Christian calendar, the last week of the Lenten season, marking the suffering, death, and also the resurrection of Jesus. Trump's words as we lead into Good Friday and Easter, I encourage you to get a copy of the God Bless the USA Bible. The concept of a Bible covered in the American flag, as well as a former president's endorsement of a text that Christians consider to be sacred, has raised a few concerns among those in religious circles, including yours truly. It also raises questions about Trump's motivations, as the former president finds himself in the middle of several expensive legal battles. The $59.99 Bible, which was first published in 2021, it features an American flag and the words "God Bless America" printed right on the cover. And inside, it has the words to God Bless America, God Bless the USA. And for no additional charge, it has in the Bible the Declaration of Independence, the Pledge of Allegiance, and other historical American documents. Promotional material for the Bible shows the former president alongside country singer Lee Greenwood. The response to Trump's social media announcement called the endorsement sacrilege, heresy, and borderline offensive, and cites lessons directly from the Bible that suggest that taking advantage of people's faith for money should be condemned. I want you to get this point. Historian and author Jemar Tisby, also Reverend Jemar Tisby, says that the whole project echoes the values of Christian nationalism. The idea that America was founded as a Christian nation and that the government should work to sanction Christianity on a national scale. The tenets of Christian nationalism are historically tied to prejudice and also white supremacy. I wish people would read the history of our country. This was not founded to be a Christian nation. Many of the signers of the Constitution were deists. They weren't Christian. They believed in God. They believed that God created the world, but that after its creation, that God has left the world alone to make its own discovery. Tisby told CNN there's a very long tradition of what's included and what is not included in the Bible. What has caused the outrage with this Bible, Tisby says, is that it includes the Declaration of Independence, the U.S. Constitution, and even the lyrics to a Lee Greenwood song. I don't think that was originally in the King James Version. I'll have to ask someone who knows probably a lot more about the Bible than I do, and that's Jim Webb. But so it's adding to the Bible, and it's adding to specific political documents to the Bible that completely erases the separation of church and state. Trump has been criticized before for his use of the Bible in public settings. In 2020, the religious leaders from several Christian denominations condemned his display of the Bible. There he is. in a photo op in front of an Episcopalian church near the White House as racial justice protests raged around the country. And also, I will interject that there were protests in that section of Washington, D.C., and before the president came, it just so happens that a police and military squad came in to clear the area just for the president of the United States. Televangelist and Trump supporter Pat Robertson, who's now deceased, said, "You just don't do that, Mr. President. It isn't cool." In 2015, Trump also called the Bible his favorite book, but has declined to share a favorite verse. The concern here is this, that the Christian nationalist movement is gaining momentum. Now that number 45 pulling this stunt, that doesn't surprise me. This political movement to make America Christian is about as un-American and un-Christian as it gets. You are all assigned homework here. Journalist Tim Alberta, in his book, The Kingdom, the Power, and the Glory, writes that the belief of many Trump-supporting Christians puts patriotism and the flag before following Jesus. Please go register and vote. Make sure that you are registered to vote. And please go vote your spiritual values this fall. I really do believe that we are seeing the downfall of Christianity as we know it. So what will take its place? I do envision a spirituality that does work for all, believer, and also for the unbeliever. And that is the news. Oh, interesting. Hello, everyone. Yes, it is Captain Yahoo. It is the Wayne Baldwin. Please don't get offended by this next one. Whose ring does the Pope kiss? We don't know, Wayne. We just don't know. Now, I think he does kiss like the Cardinals' rings, but I'm not sure. That is usual, reasonable, and customary when you are in front of a higher up clergy, like a bishop or higher, is that you kiss their ring. But anyhow, it's a show of reverence. There you go. Well, anyhow, hi there. Welcome. This is the Friday evening Fireside Chat, the Good Friday edition here on your New Thought Media Network. So now let's go to some announcements, and then we'll have on as our special guest this evening, the Reverend Jim Webb, star of stage, screen, television, Amazon bestseller. Are you an Amazon bestseller, Jim? He's shaking his head. Yes. Amazon bestseller. I always like saying that. Jim Webb will be coming up. We'll be discussing about the significance of Holy Week and the metaphysical meaning behind Holy Week and how we can apply it to our lives now. So this Sunday, yours truly will be at Summit CSL. So for more information, please go to summitcsl.org. There you will find information about our wonderful Sunday gathering online at 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific time. Grab your cup of coffee, your tea, your espresso, whatever wakes you up in the morning, and please join us. I do believe that we do have one of the best services in New Thought. And the reason being is that we balance the 3 M's, and that's music, meditation, and message. So this Sunday, we will have speaking. New Thought Media Network superstar and all-around nice guy, the Reverend Michael Mangus. And he'll be speaking on the topic of rise up. Really, Jim, I don't know what I'm speaking about. It's going to be something around resurrection. So I went ahead and just thrown in a topic. So then I can speak about whatever I want, right? That's right. Go to summitcsl.org for more information on how to join our Zoom call. Our service is also simulcast on the Summit Spiritual Center Background Facebook page. And our Facebook page also has past broadcasts of the Fireside Chat and yours truly when he is praying on the New Thought Media Network. We are going into spring. We are going into summer. And we are asking for your loving support. We are doing so much good in the world. And the reason we know is because we get emails from around the world saying that individuals appreciate the programming that they can only find here on the New Thought Media Network. We have over 40 hours of programming every single week just for you. We have morning and evening prayer. We have prayers in Spanish and English. We also have Jim Webb's show. We also have my show on Friday evenings. Tomorrow, we also have the conversations about the science of mind and spirit, where they actually go through the science of mind textbook. Where else do you get that kind of programming? So, again, I want to say thank you to all of you who financially support us. You have no idea how much that we appreciate everything that comes in. And we ask for your support for us making the budget for the rest of the year, also for providing the extra funds that we will need for conference season. For those of you who don't know, that our ministry goes and supports other New Thought ministries in streaming their conferences for a heck of a lot less than they would have to pay a professional organization, for about 1/3 to 1/2 off. The reason we can do that is because of you, because of your loving support. So again, if you could make a very generous one-time donation, please do so to ntmedia.org/donate, and also consider being a monthly donor. If you have not already done so, please consider, because that really helps us again to get this powerful message out to the planet. A very practical spirituality that is somewhat Christian-based, but you don't have to be a Christian to practice it. It's based upon, again, the ancient teachings of Christianity and also other ancient teachings and ancient wisdom. ntmedia.org/donate. Okay. Let's go take a break. As Reverend Jim Webb says, let's go sell some soap. And then we'll be right back with the Reverend Jim Webb. And this is the Friday Evening Fireside Chat here on your New Thought Media Network.
New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
The views and opinions expressed by Pastor Michael Mangus are generally right. However, they are his own and do not reflect the views and opinions of New Thought Media Network, Centers for Spiritual Living, or any other person living or dead. As they say in the 12-Step Recovery Program, take what you like and leave the rest. Here again is Pastor Michael.
With the Reverend Jim Webb, who is the host of our extremely popular program on Sunday evenings, The Miracle of Prosperity, seen only here on the New Thought Media Network. Good evening, Reverend Jim. How are you, sir?
I'm great, Michael. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's always an honor. Can I send a shout out to someone before we begin?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I want to say happy birthday to Deb Chinrock, who was one of my classmates back at St. Martha's Catholic School way back in 1906. Debbie was born on April the 2nd, and I was born on April the 3rd. And I think we were in the same hospital at St. Thomas. Happy birthday, Deb. She says, we're in the throes of a major change for the world. It's scary. Yeah, it's scary in the moment, but I and we can talk about this, Jim. I feel that there's something good that's coming out of this, that we're in it seems like it's chaos, but there's an order about it. So what's your, so if someone from your congregation came to you and said the same thing, what would you tell them?
I would think about two scriptures, one from the Bible and one from A Course in Miracles. The scripture I would think about from the Bible is all things work together for the good, for those who love the Lord. And there's a corollary scripture in A Course in Miracles. A happy outcome to all things is sure, and God's promises make no exceptions. So in this season, it's especially appropriate because we're talking about transformation. Easter is about transformation, transforming old thought into new thought, transforming old consciousness into new consciousness, transforming from an idea that we are a body to the truth that we are eternal spiritual beings temporarily inhabiting a body. The core theme through all of this is transformation. Yes. And an integral part of transformation is loss, change, chaos, and recreation, right?
Right.
So in the midst of loss, change, and chaos, it can be very scary. But on the other side of all of that is recreation. Now, I often use a pretty trite example for this. The trite example I use is making an omelet, right? In order to make an omelet, you have to change things. You have to get the eggs out. You have to beat the eggs. You have to cut the ham. You have to slice the onions, and that may bring tears. You have to slice the peppers. You have to slice the tomatoes. And everything doesn't look like it looked before. So there's this chaos. But this chaos is divine, and this chaos is necessary for the creation of something better. Right. So you have all this chaos on your counter, and you've got eggs spilled on your counter, and you're thinking, I'm going to get salmonella. And you worry about that, right? But
go ahead.
You put the butter in the pan, and I'm talking butter now. You put the butter in the pan, you do the sizzle. Yes. You put all the ingredients together. You put them in the pan, you hear the sizzle, you smell the cooking, you feel, you smell the mushrooms, you smell the bacon, because you put some bacon bits in there too, remember?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. And when it comes out, it's something absolutely incredible that made the chaos worth it. So all things work together for the good, and a happy outcome to all things is guaranteed, despite some momentary chaos, which is a part of the divine process.
If you have never listened to Jim Webb's show, this is a banner I have already for Jim Webb's show. Reverend Jim loves great food. So when you hear references to either food or to Motown, you are watching the Miracle of Prosperity here on the New Thought Media Network. So, Jim, share a few more ideas about Holy Week, about especially today being Good Friday, and the whole idea of resurrection or Easter Sunday. Share a few more ideas about that.
Yes. The first idea I'd like to share has to do with the beginning of Holy Week, when Jesus returned triumphantly to Jerusalem. During Jesus' return in triumph to Jerusalem, during Palm Sunday, we celebrated Jesus' miracles. The fact that Jesus, as a human who embodied the principles of Christ, the Christed principles, he said, "These things I do, ye shall do greater things." And the miracles he performed, and that brought him a great deal of adulation. But those miracles were not the ending of the process. That was just the beginning, because he came to teach us that we too were entitled to miracles.
Yes.
And one of the most powerful aspects of that was when the woman who had an issue of blood for 12 years touched the hem of his garment, and he felt the virtue drained from him. In other words,
Absolutely.
the chi, or the life force, drained from him, because it flowed from him to her, and she was healed. But you know what happened? In the next breath, more life force returned to him because he was a channel.
Right.
What that demonstrated was that we are all channels for the light, the love, the healing, and the grace of God. And when we follow his example, and when our consciousness is aligned with what he taught about consciousness, we too can shift our mind, shift our energies, shift our patternings, and therefore shift our outcomes. And that's what a miracle is, a shift in energy that shifts outcomes.
So I was thinking about the Easter message for Sunday. And I always remember about the time I got chewed out by my board president. It was, again, based upon the Bible and, the whole idea of resurrection. Being a general idea. And I did not get into the whole idea of did it happen or it didn't happen, but the whole idea of resurrection being a spiritual idea. She comes up to me afterwards and she says, "Michael, I am not happy about your Easter message."
Oh, okay.
And I said, "Oh, that's interesting. Tell me more." So again, when people come up to you with statements like that, just come back with a statement of curiosity and say, that's interesting. Tell me more.
Let's explore.
So she says, "We all know what happened to Jesus." And I says, "Inform me." Because again, there's all kinds of theories. She said to me, she says, "Well, everyone knows that what happened was that Jesus was put into a deep sleep or coma on the cross.
Okay.
And then when he was taken down, that he was rescued by certain disciples that went ahead and used healing herbs to heal his wounds. And then he went back to India
Hmm.
to teach for the rest of his life.
Okay.
And I said, this individual, I said, yes. I said, because there is a Saint Esau
Yes.
in India.
Yes.
And so, where was Jesus during the 18 years gap in the Gospels?
Hmm.
So there is a possibility that there is an Eastern component. However, we don't know
Right.
what happened. But see, it doesn't really matter.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
I know from Thessalonians, it says, we're all, if the death, burial, and resurrection of Christ didn't happen, that we would have nothing to hang our faith on.
Hmm.
No, eh, even if you're not Christian, that
Right.
the whole idea that the Christ that we have to, like you said before, that we have to die to the old ideas. We
Hmm.
have to die to the old thoughts. Ernest Holmes says that we have to let go of the old to experience the new.
Yes.
And that, again, that resurrection is not something that's just Christian. It
Hmm.
is a deep mythology within most religions that
Yes.
says that not only can we rise above the circumstances, but
Mhm.
also that there is such a thing called eternal life.
Yes.
Reverend Jim Webb. Go
Absolutely.
ahead.
So, in other words, and we see this in nature as well. For example, the moth goes into a deep sleep. Or, I'm sorry, the caterpillar goes into a deep sleep, goes through a transformation, and emerges as something else. And that is that is just another example of what the resurrection story symbolizes. It symbolizes our continual evolution, our continual upliftment, our continual transformation. And that's what we celebrate at Easter at bottom. We celebrate the transformation. We see the Easter story and whatever aspect of the Easter story we choose to see. But what we see beyond any aspect of the story is the transformation and the symbology of it and what it can teach us about our eternal selves. Now, one of the interesting symbols that I always like to work with is not the symbology of Jesus being crucified between two thieves, but the fact that we often crucify ourselves between
Yes,
two thieves, the thief of the
absolutely.
past and the thief of the future. We're guilty about the past, and that keeps us from accessing, realizing, and experiencing the grace of God in the moment because we're unconsciously beating ourselves up. And we're so worried about the future, worried the future will be a replay of the past, that we can't stay in the present moment and feel the grace and presence of God in the moment and create with that moment all the joy God wills for us. So, what I tend to do is I look at different aspects of the Easter story and I say, what is the practical application of spirituality here that can help me today?
Absolutely.
And that's one of the things that tends to work for me.
Yes, we're talking with the Reverend Jim Webb, who is not only an author, but he's also the host of The Miracle of Prosperity. That's seen weekly at 8 o'clock on Sunday evenings here at your New Thought Media Network. And I just happened to be his producer. So
Yes.
now you told me before the show, you said that you have a very special guest for Sunday evening. Could you please tell me who that guest could be?
Yes, that guest is actually back by popular demand.
What?
Oh, yeah, he got a
Okay,
callback. As a struggling actor in New York, a callback was golden,
that's
right?
right. Okay, go ahead.
So he got a callback. A few weeks ago, this person did a show based on the affirmations of Catherine Ponder. And it was so popular, so well received, and so good that he got a callback. So for Easter, he is going to be a guest on my show, And we're going to do a show called Resurrecting Your Truth, because your truth often gets buried in your day-to-day experiences and processes.
Now, do I know this person?
You know him intimately. You probably know him better than anyone else on the planet. My guest is Reverend Michael Mangus.
Thank you. Hold it. Thank you. See, that's what's cool about when you have buttons like that. You can go ahead.
Yes.
You don't need anybody to applaud you.
Yes.
It's really, and for me recently, and I was telling you before the show, that when we start putting new thoughts in, I've been doing the Catherine Ponder affirmations, and we talked about that a few weeks ago. That's a wonderful show, by the way. That's March 3rd or March 4th?
March 3rd.
March 3rd. Okay.
Yes.
Go watch that show. That was me going solo, unsupervised.
Yes. I trusted enough that he could play unsupervised on my show.
I was playing unsupervised. I was coloring outside the lines. Oh, we have fun. So I've been working with the Catherine Ponder ideas, and that it's been interesting because and I remember this from I call them the OGs, the original gangsters, the people who, the New Thought saints that came before you and I, that they talked about a process called chemicalization. Whereas if you start putting something in a system, that what happens is that sometimes it becomes darker before it comes forth. And you were talking about the whole idea of the caterpillar coming forth out of the cocoon. So it's been interesting because because of the prosperity affirmations, I've I had my account hacked into. I had no money was lost though, but also that there was a wedding canceled that I had on the books for 2 months. And again, I just keep on doing with the Catherine Ponder affirmations. And wouldn't you know, out of the blue, before on yesterday or the couple of days before, as I got a call for a wedding that paid a lot more than I would have made on the wedding on this weekend. So that's why I'm saying to everyone is see the symbolism of Easter is the symbolism of spiritual growth. That sometimes, again, that you have to sometimes go through a dark period before you experience the resurrection, and that you can do that. Through, again, just keeping on with your meditation, keeping on with your affirmations, just, seeing beyond the appearance and seeing the spiritual truth.
Absolutely.
Reverend
I teach an idea called praying past the appearance, because what happens is we tend to get stuck in the appearance, but the appearance is just a crystallization of old energy. And when we declare ourselves to be a new thing, the old stuff that is in us has to come up for observation, healing, denial, and release. And so it is quite customary when we declare ourselves to be a new thing, anything unlike it shows up for healing, so that that new thing that we have declared can be revealed to us. And so our task is to pray past the appearance, because energy flows where attention goes. And when you look past the appearance to the outcome you desire, a happy outcome is guaranteed for all things. A happy outcome is guaranteed by God. If the happy outcome isn't there yet, God isn't finished, it means go back to prayer. It means go back to meditation. It means go back to your core truth and hold on to that core truth despite what may be going on outside of you, because what's going on outside of you is a crystallization of the past, not the core truth that you hold in the moment. So know that, like that old song, Girl in Trouble, it's a temporary thing. Know that it's a temporary thing.
Go ahead. Yeah.
It's a
Wow.
temporary thing, and pray past it to get to the happy outcome that is assured by God.
And if you have an issue or challenge with that, please get a hold of us.
Yes.
You are not alone.
Yes.
prayer@ntmedia.org. Also, my email address, pastormichaelmangus@gmail.com. You do not have to do this alone. If it seems dark, again, keep doing what you're doing and get supportive people around you that will support you through it. Not go ahead and pour cold water on your dreams, or especially family.
Yeah.
Family, sometimes they do not understand these spiritual principles.
And they have an investment in keeping you where they are to keep the family order and to keep the family dynamic as it was, so that everyone can feel comfortable. And they do not realize that you are a totally different person. You have been made new by God.
Right. Reverend Webb, what have you been working on recently?
Wow.
What's coming up here? Let's see here. Let me get the window here. You told me that you have new classes coming up. Isn't that correct?
I do. And the first class I've got coming up is You Can Heal Your Life. It's a class that focuses on how we can heal and transform anything in our lives.
Anything?
Anything.
Okay.
No matter what it is, we can heal and transform it. And how? By looking at the thought that spawned the thing that we do not enjoy. When you look at the thought that spawned the thing that you do not enjoy, you realize that thought is not of God, for God's will for you is perfect happiness, according to A Course in Miracles, lessons 101 to 103. So the thought you had was not of God. It is a thought you made up. Is it a thought of your undeservingness? Is it a thought of your guilt? Is it a thought of your not enoughness? Whatever it is, God didn't make it up, because God made you whole, perfect, and complete. It is a thought at the core of what you don't enjoy that causes imbalance that can be healed. And when imbalance is healed from within you, circumstances outside of you either change, or you are lifted from those circumstances, or they no longer have impact on you. And that is what healing is. It's a shift in internal energy that changes your outlook and therefore changes your outcome. So we're going to use the Louise Hay work as a basis, but we're going to use the Louise Hay work as a basis and then go within and heal any imbalance within us that shows up as an imbalance outside of us that we want to shift, change, or transform.
Jim's
transformation.
Jim's classes sell out quickly. All right. The last class that he had, which was a pop-up class, there were 3 or 4 people calling him that day saying, "Can we get in?" And Reverend Jim had to say,
"I'm sorry.
I'm sorry." So if you want, if you want to be in this class, You Can Heal Your Life. It's 6 Thursdays beginning April the 18th. I put up other information, but again, ReverendJimWebb.com is a good one. I've also been putting up his information again. 202-253-6009 is also a number that you can text him. Well, you also have another class coming up here.
Yes. And you know what spawned this class?
What?
There was an old Broadway show, a couple of white chicks sitting around talking.
Okay.
And I remembered the title of it. And I thought about all the people who over the years said to me, "I would just like to sit down and have a conversation with Spirit." And so this class is called Ask Spirit Anything. As opposed to me sitting there and channeling on one specific subject like relationships or money or healing or family, I'm just going to sit down and go into channel, and the masters are going to answer any questions you have about anything. They're going to supplement your answers. Yeah, they're going to supplement your answers with prayers, affirmations, healing energy, and healing treatments. But you can go to them with anything, any question, any dilemma, any challenge. They'll give you answers. They'll give you guidance. They'll give you assurance. They'll give you a new way to see things. They'll give you a prayer. They'll give you an affirmation. They'll give you a healing. Ask Spirit anything.
And that's the number you can get a hold of Jim at 202-253-6009. So now, what is my investment in these wonderful classes, Reverend Webb?
I don't know because I can't see the fine print, but I believe it's $250 for members of my chapel or any New Thought organization.
Okay.
And it's $250 for friends.
Yeah, mention you're from New Thought Media Network, and he'll give you the buddy deal.
I'll give you the buddy deal. Exactly.
All right. So just mention New Thought Media Network, and he'll shave $25 off the cost. Let me just say
and
this.
There's one other thing.
Okay.
And that is that I've got an early bird discount that ends on April 7th. So if you sign up before April 7th, you get another $50 off.
What?
Yeah, you got to sign up before April 7th or before the class sells out. And that's very important because quite often my classes sell out before the early bird discount ends.
Oh, absolutely. See, you don't understand. Again, I'm his producer. You don't understand that what happens is people, they call them up and they say, well, can't, Zoom. No, to keep the classes so that individuals can participate, so they can feel free to share. They're all capped. And we don't do this as a marketing employee. We tell you that because that it really, again, having the right amount of people in the class is really important for the synergy of the class. If you want to get a hold of Reverend Jim for any of this stuff, 202-253-6009. Either call him or text him, and he will be glad to give you more information about the classes. Yes.
And you know what else, Michael? I didn't tell you this because I didn't want you to kill me.
Uh-oh.
I said, if I do this, Michael will kill me.
Okay, what?
I just got guidance to do another pop-up class 2 days ago. I haven't announced it to the world yet. So your show is very lucky. See, this is what I do. I only announce things to my mailing list first. Then I announce things to people who have already taken my classes.
Right. And
then I announce them to my world. And then I put them on my website. And the reason for that is people who have frequent flyer miles with me, right?
Okay.
So you're the first outlet that I'm using to announce this to the world. And I'm doing another pop-up class. And everybody get out your pens and papers because I haven't even put it on my website yet. You will hear this first.
World premiere tonight.
Yes. It's called What to Do When You Are Triggered.
Oh, wow.
Because you know what? Remember that song by REM, Losing My Religion?
That's right.
It came from when they were in college, there was a cafeteria worker, and they were and the group REM, they were exasperating this cafeteria worker. And the cafeteria worker said, "You're going to make me lose my religion. I'm going to forget I'm a Christian and wring your neck." Now, we've all had experiences where we lose our religion. It's like, oh, I forgot I was New Thought. Ooh, I forgot I was holy, peaceful, and secure. Ooh, I forgot. We get triggered.
Absolutely.
So this class is what to do when you are triggered. What spiritual tools can you access immediately? What thought processes can you work with immediately? How do you handle those emotions that you thought you dealt with in a way that can use your triggers for the growth that they are intended to offer?
We will have a flyer for that this coming Sunday evening, won't we, Reverend Webb?
Yes, we already have it, believe it or not. Reverend Webb just has to get it to you. See, I've been kind of showing a little leg little by little with this class.
Okay. I'll tell you what, again, The Miracle of Prosperity is a master class on prosperity. And we don't, prosperity is a lot more than money, what Jim teaches. Prosperity is everything good in your life. And again, relation prosperity, also business prosperity, also, loving yourself. Again, we talk about different topics. So that's the Miracle of Prosperity. Here 8 o'clock on Sunday evenings here at the New Thought Media Network. Jim Webb, we could talk all evening, but we are on double secret overtime, so I got to get out of here.
Okay. But thank you for having me. I'm so glad to be here.
Oh, thank you. Happy Easter, and we will see you on Sunday then.
Happy Easter. See you Sunday night.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank
all right, folks, we're all done here. So thank you again for joining us this evening. Again, happy holy days to each and every one of you. Yes, my name is Michael, and I'm a prayer addict. You're all supposed to say hi, Michael. Hey, Naomi. She's a new viewer to our network. We're so glad to have you. Thank you so very, very much. All right, time for us to go. And again, ntmedia.org gives you a full rundown of our schedule. Please, please, please. It's all for you. And again, go on our YouTube channel. We have everything archived there, including this show. On behalf of all of us here at the New Thought Media Network, I am Reverend Michael Mangus, and we will wish you a wonderful Easter, and we will see you next week.
Thanks for joining us this evening for Friday's Fireside Chat with Pastor Michael Mangus. Join us again next week at 8 Eastern, 6 Mountain for more spiritual conversations for today. For more information and replays of past shows, please visit the New Thought Radio and Media Network's Facebook page. Until next week, may God bless you richly and abundantly.